welcome to the Trash Talking and Giving Back podcast. I'm Erin-Coiffel, joined by Joe Sinagra. He is my co-host. He is also the operations manager over at Myers Containers. He gets stuff done. We'll do the PG version of it. Gets stuff done. Joe, welcome. How's your week been?
Week's good. I'm a little tired today, and the reason is it's actually your fault, Erin, that I'm tired. So, as many people do, I have to fall asleep to television. So my life's an open book. I record Judge Judy every day, and I fall asleep to watching Judge Judy. A fellow New Yorker, so I got to give her props. So last night, but usually 15 minutes and I'm falling asleep. I usually don't make it to the first commercial. So last night I'm watching listening to Judge Judy, and I'm dozing off, and she's just about, they go to the first commercial, and what do I hear? A familiar voice. Because I'm not watching, I'm just listening. So I hear a familiar voice, which obviously I perk right up. And of course, I was drifting off, so I'm not really sure what it was. And it was.
No, you were just having dreams of this angelic voice. Probably talking about a restaurant would be my guess. I was probably talking about a restaurant.
Yes, you're talking about Maple. And I woke up, sort of startled, and my wife wanted to know, what's wrong. And I said, I must have said Erin. And of course, my lovely wife asked me who Erin was. And, to say the least, took me a little bit longer.
I'm in trouble now. Sorry, Joe's wife.
But I had a good week. How about yourself?
I had a pretty good week. Pretty standard. The weather's finally turning up here in Vermont, and so that's nice. I will share with you, in our household, Frasier lately has been the fall asleep show. I usually read. I'm pretty good about that, but then my husband, maybe 1 out of the 7 nights, he'll also read, and then he will put on Frasier, and that's our go-to fall asleep show at the moment.
Oh, see, I forgot you went to a big, smart university. I went to a state college, so I TikTok and then watch, it's Judge Judy for us state college graduates.
Well, fun fact that we'll get into a different time, because I know you're going to have questions, but in high school, I was actually on People's Court.
Well, now definitely, that will be another show. But
I'm not too high class.
I do have a question for you. So, they always tell you don't go to the grocery store hungry because, you end up spending too much money. So my question to you is it appropriate to eat something at the grocery store that you haven't purchased yet? And if so, is there an age limit? Because obviously you have a little kid, so you can go and you can give your child a cookie or a juice box or something like that. That's fine. But as a grown adult, are you allowed to open the bag of Doritos while you're grocery shopping?
I'm going to be honest, Joe. You can, but it's probably just not really a very good look.
Well, that's true.
No offense to you, but when you're a bigger fellow too. Yeah. So then they're like, come on, guy.
Exactly.
I have given my children a pouch, right? Because you go by that pouch aisle and they see them and they want one and they've got to have it now. And I always feel like all of a sudden, whoever's watching the cameras everywhere have all eyes on us to make sure that we're going to pay for said pouch for $1, whatever it is. But I don't know. I feel like if I saw a grown man walking around just eating his bag of Doritos,
Erin,
what's going on here?
A little behind the curtain here, we have 2 producers, and although I didn't ask them this question, I will guarantee you both of our producers have eaten in the grocery store before they purchase something.
No way. No way.
There's no doubt.
All right, we're gonna ask them at the end, but you know who we're also gonna ask? Because I can already tell he's gonna be a fun guest today. Oh, Jay just told us never. We're going to ask Rob Coburn, who is a sales rep over at Myers with you. I know you guys have been working together for a while. I was all set to ask him what he falls asleep to, but now we're going to have to also ask him his thoughts on the appropriateness of eating while shopping at the store. As I say this, though, it's I think if you're at Costco and you buy the pizza, you can walk around with it, but that's different because you pay for that to get it. All right, Rob, welcome to the show. We're dying to know, have you ever done this? Is it appropriate?
Erin, nice to virtually meet you. Yes, I have actually not that long ago. Shoo, I was starving and I had to get some deli meat. So I'm walking down the meat aisle, opening up my slab of roast beef, rolling it up and putting in a piece of cheese and eating it as I'm going through. Then I grabbed the chicken. I did not eat the raw chicken though, so that's a positive.
Fair. Where do you draw the line though? Like if I'm just like dying for a beer and I got a 12 pack, like can I just crack it open?
Well, down south you can. Unfortunately, we're not up with the times here. So
True.
Yeah,
I love it.
Erin,
All right,
you'd like
well,
to see
Rob,
some stuff in Louisiana.
you can open container a lot of stuff down there. Rob, tell me about sorry, I'm giggling because our producer told us to stop admitting to crimes. This is being recorded. Rob, tell me, tell us about you and your role at Myers. What do you do?
Oh, sure. So my name's Rob Coburn. I am a sales manager for Myers Waste and Recycling. I've worked for Myers now. I just hit my 10-year anniversary last November, so it's over 10 years at this point. And yeah, I do sales both for commercial sales, like your everyday dumpsters you see behind restaurants and corner stores and industrial parks, stuff like that. And then I also take care of the roll-off side of things. So big construction projects, think Burlington High School, Beta, just large construction companies, projects. I take care of those also.
How did you get into this field?
You know, it's funny. So I lost contact with a friend of 20 years and I found him via Google. I called up the number, it showed up. I used to work with him back in the 90s, late 90s. I called the number that showed up and he ends up calling me back. I left him voicemail. He ends up calling me back like 3 days later. He said, "Hey, my wacky neighbor just gave me a message that you had called me." So apparently it was his neighbor's number, not his. And then he told me he was working at Myers Waste, and I happened to stop by there one day, thinking about becoming a real estate agent. I believe of nothing else. I was there to actually talk to a realtor to think about doing that, and I happened to meet Jeff when he was down there, and he, just kind of said, "Hey, are you looking for a job? You've got a good personality," and I said, "I might be." I slept on it, and then yeah, had more conversations with Joe and Jeff after that. I used to be in social services, so it's like one extreme to the next. If you had asked me 11 years ago if I looked at dumpsters, I would be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" No, I don't look at it. I don't know what that is. Now, that's all I do. I drive down the road and I'm looking at dumpsters. I'm like, "What have you done?"
I love it.
Now, Rob, I know you watched all of our past podcasts, so this will be in the question we've asked in the past. But and I know the answer, but I don't think Erin knows the answer. So you're sitting, and in the background are Rob's a big music fan, so he has a lot of music posters hanging in the background. Is it appropriate to give your animal a human name?
So I would have to say yes. And that's because I have one dog that's scratching at the screen. You might hear it every 30 seconds because I put him outside. His name is Dave. And then I have Oliver and I have Penelope. But so much fun with Dave. Everybody gets a kick out of it. Yes, you certainly can.
Well, and Rob, as the golf reference for Erin, I'm teeing it up for you, referencing your background here. So I was trying to prompt you with why his name is Dave.
Dave Matthews, of course. And you probably can't even make out what those posters are. But yes, my wife and I love to, and friends love to attend shows. So it's something we look forward to all through the summer and sometimes the winter and sometimes in Italy. So
I grew up in Connecticut, and Dave Matthews at the Meadows in the summer was like the hot ticket to go to all of the time.
It's making me warm and fuzzy just thinking about it. So yes.
Okay, tell me a little bit about like the role that Myers plays at a construction site, right? I feel like it's something where people, you think of a construction site, you just think of the big machinery, and you forget that there is a lot of waste that gets produced. And so tell me about the role that you guys play. And then I know that everything doesn't just go into the garbage, right? Stuff, depending on what it is, it might go to different places.
Most certainly. So the waste side of things, as you said, you don't really think about it on a construction site. However, it can be crippling if a construction site does not have a means to get rid of their waste. They'll start stockpiling stuff. So what Myers does is we'll place a roll-off at that site, 15, 20, 30, 40-yarder for bigger demo projects. And then we will offer next day dump and returns for when they need a dump and return of all of the waste that they're producing. Initially, they'll usually contact me to help with a waste management plan. And what that is just a plan to come up with recycling for the waste that's on the project. And Myers actually has the only certified construction debris recycling facility in the state. So we do a great job with that, and we're able to support the customers and what they need and how they need it.
Now, Rob, I know you have a personal project that you are very passionate about, that you volunteer at, and you brought Myers into that world, although it was something you were involved in before the Myers universe, and then you brought us in. You're very active in Rotary International and former officer in the St. Albans Rotary Club. And you helped to organize the big home show in St. Albans. Maybe tell everyone about your involvement with Rotary, and for those who might not know about Rotary, and everything that happens around that. And I think we have some cool photos too.
Great. Certainly. Oh yeah, Batman. I mean, does it get any better than that? So yes, I am involved in the Rotary. I am a Rotarian. One of the things I really respect and appreciate about working for Myers is how they like to give back to the community. And part of doing so is allowing me to spend time with the Rotary and doing different Rotary functions. The Rotary does so much within our community. The way we acquire our major funds is through a Rotary home show. Myers is kind enough to donate my time to be able to be the general manager of that show, which brings in a substantial amount to the Rotary. And then all of those net funds go directly back into our community. You see the picture there of giving a check. So we do different things. There's a huge walking path in there. And I don't know if you're familiar with St. Albans, but around this Collins Pearly Sports Complex, there's a huge walking path, probably 2 miles, 2.5 miles. The Rotary put that in, and we're actually going to have a meeting shortly to discuss maybe revamping it some, but that gets utilized by everybody. Have you been to Taylor Park before in St. Albans?
I'm not great with names of places I've been. I have been to Collins Pearly for when I did sports, and I've been to whatever the main, like where Maple Fest was. I've been to that area as well.
So that's Taylor Park. In Taylor Park, you'll see a huge fountain with a bunch of like copper ladies all the way around. That fountain didn't work for years and years. The Rotary actually put a substantial hundreds of thousands of dollars into that fountain to get it back up and coming. We also do different things such as support the local schools, Martha's Kitchen, Spectrum. I could go on. And my involvement with that is due to Myers wanting to give back to the community. And it's great to work for an organization that supports me and supports that and supports the community as a whole.
Well, I've got to be honest with you. I'm the daughter of a Rotarian. I'm the daughter-in-law of a Rotarian. And so I've been in and around the Rotary Club for a very long time. And I know it's the kind of thing that sometimes people tend to feel like it's aging, right? It's a lot of the members are older. And so it's refreshing to see a young face that is, super involved in the Rotary Club. And I guess, I don't know if maybe the St. Albans one skews a little bit younger than some of the ones that I've been in and around. But how does someone who, is maybe looking to get involved in something like the Rotary Club, like who is it open to? How do they get involved? What's the commitment like?
It's open to absolutely everybody. Our particular Rotary clubs meet the first and third Tuesday, and then we have other meetings on the other Tuesdays. But yeah, the first and third Tuesday of the month, they can reach out. They can go to our website. Just Google Rotary in your community. Lots of Rotary clubs throughout the entire state of Vermont, throughout the country, throughout the world. So it's pretty easy to find if they just use Google and find a local club. Yeah.
Now, usually we have some photos of Rob, you at Batman. I heard through the grapevine that Erin was in youth Rotarian in high school, and we're hoping maybe we have some old photo of that one, Erin.
No,
No, no.
You just made me really nervous. I mean, I probably could find one, and maybe next week I'll share with you like a young Erin photo, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I have friends who have seen a photo of me from like college, like sophomore year, and then they are like, "Whoa, you killed that girl." I mean, I was like the curly hair, like bottle of hair gel with the seashell necklace, like. It's rough. I'll try to find it, and I'll send it into the link, and Ben. It's not great.
Erin, I did see a photo of you freshman year in college with curly hair too. So
Wait,
you had the curly hair for a little bit longer.
How much stalking of me did you do?
You know. Well, we spent so much time together. I gotta know who I'm spending time with.
She looks a little worried, Joe. I don't know.
I mean, it's quite the photo. I'll throw the link in here, and maybe our producers can pull it in for us. Rob, you have worked at Myers for 10 years. I hope Joe did something nice for you, even if it was just like a little plaque, or like, brought you to lunch, or just gave you a nice extra pat on the back. But what are some of your favorite memories of working there?
Of working with Myers, going into the office is always a fun time with everybody joking around. Really, my favorite memories is just the relationships I built just not only through Myers, but through my customers. I'm close friends with a lot of my customers. I look at my customer base as my book of business, and I know it's not my business, but in my mind, my book of business is my business. And I just really thoroughly enjoyed being there for them, helping them out when they have a need. I'm kind of a one-point liaison for them. So we just establish a relationship, and it's a relationship that just continues going. So to me, that's some of my most fun things. Having Joe do cookouts at the office whenever we do customer or staff appreciation days is always fun. And then some of the evening events we've had that I'd rather not share here has been good times.
Rob, where do you see the industry going? Over the in your 10 years here, you've seen recycling has become more of a priority for, first it was the residential, but now, we're seeing more builders and contractors looking for recycling. Where do you see the industry as a whole going? Because I think what a lot of people don't understand is everything that's involved in waste management. It's not just bringing the trash bag out to the street corner anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the industry is crazy. Just over the 10 years I've been here, it's changed so much over that time. And where I see it going in the future is just continuing to be busier and finding new means of recycling new products. So I think that's the biggest thing we have to overcome and figure out. And that's why I foresee us and others in the industry and at our state levels doing, is just trying to figure that out.
Well, and I think it's kind of cool, right? Some industries, there's fears that technology will take it over, right? Newspapers, they talk about digital advertising, like, just other jobs, like being able to have robots doing them. Like, there will never be a time when there is not going to be a need for trash and trash pickup.
You're absolutely right. You can't, at no part of our business really, or our business motto, can a robot do that job. Could it interact and sell customers? Maybe eventually with via chat and so on and so forth. But a buddy once told me there's two fields, at least for me personally, not Myers at a whole, there's two fields you'll never have to worry about finding a job if you're good at. One is sales, and the other one is being a bartender. But I think you could move that sales one to trash as a whole. You're absolutely right. So I can feel confident. I have loved ones and family members that are in industry that eventually AI could take over. I mean, and maybe not in my lifetime, but in my kids' lifetime, I could see that happening. Maybe in our lifetime. Look how much it's come in such a short time now. Heck, the iPhones are 12 years old.
I always say that. I'm like, I remember, I was born, I'm 40. So, I was born. And then just, if you think about what are the things that weren't even dreamt of being a thing 40 years ago that are now like so common and everyone has them.
Yeah.
And now what will we have 40 years from now that like our kids and grandkids are like trying to show us how to use, and we're like, no, look at this iPhone. And they're like, what do you mean? It's a thing. Like mine's implanted in my head. Like
That's true.
it's
Like the
wild.
old rotary phones.
Oh,
Hey.
Oh, look at her.
Nice necklace.
Isn't that the best part? The bottle of hair gel. And this one's easy to find. I was on the diving team at Syracuse. Fun fact. And so this lives just on the internet. If you Google me, Erin-Coiffel, this one shows right up. Joe, I feel like this must be what he's seen already. So he's not surprised. But you're welcome to the rest of the world out there. That is Erin-Coiffel circa 2002, 2003. I did have a boyfriend in high school, believe it or not. So, you know, there it is. All right, that's enough, Ben.
In total openness, and it will track with Rob being here, I was talking to my wife about this, and my wife asked me, well, how old is Erin? And I said, she's our age. And Vicky looked at it and she said, you know, I love you, but she's not your age. And she's not Rob's age. So why I was talking to you was I was curious how old you were, Erin. And sadly, because our producers and Rob will do this, when I looked at your birth date, I won't give it out, but it started with an 8, not a 7 or a 6, like some people on our podcast in the background. So when it starts with an 8, I was a little, you know, I put my head down a little bit on that.
Well, I need to meet Vicky soon, because now you've got her wondering how old I am, and you're like falling asleep, dreaming of me,
well, you know,
hearing my voice.
They say, that the meme going around when your supervisor tells you what to do, or when a coworker tells you what to do and their birthday starts with a 2, you need to tell them to shut up. So
that's funny. So I have a sales idea for you two here with Mother's Day rolling around. I've been seeing a lot of memes about what mom really wants for Mother's Day, and then it flips to a picture of a dumpster in her yard.
I love it.
True.
That's perfect. Yes.
Isn't that good?
It's very true.
Oh, yeah.
My wife already has her Mother's Day gift. We've been together a long time. I asked her what she wants, and she's got what she has wanted for the last couple of years, which is a day not home and not with us. A fun fact, she's spending the day with a very good friend, high school friend of Rob's. Her best friend was good friends with Rob back in the early 90s.
Sure. It's a small world.
So that's Mother's Day.
That's wild. That's good. Good for her. Good for her.
Yes.
No telling what'll be happening in the Barker household, but probably won't be that exciting.
Well,
So Joe,
your kids are at the
gonna
perfect age where they'll make cards for you, and I'm sure Alex won't make you do anything. And we always, when our kids were little, it was didn't have to change diapers on Mother's Day or Father's Day. So
fair.
I'm sure.
I will give my husband credit. He's a really good diaper guy, and so that's been a treat for me. That's definitely been a treat. Rob, my final question for you. It's my final question for everyone. What is something either about Myers or about what you do that you wish more people knew, or that people are surprised to hear or learn?
For me about Myers, what it is that we are the largest non-public hauler in the state. We're family owned and operated. We have well over 70 employees. And when I talk to people in the smaller communities, they're like, oh, wow, I didn't know you're that big. Or, oh, wow, I didn't know you could be on the Burlington High School job, or you could have that mayor support that side of things. Also, that it is family owned and they are very involved. It's very easy for me to get the owner's ear. It's very easy for anybody to get the owner's ear. And that's something that I think customers like and appreciate and are surprised by every day for a company our size.
I would agree with that. I think Vermonters too, right? I grew up in Connecticut, lived in Rhode Island, lived in Louisiana, lived here. If there's one thing I've learned about Vermonters, it's like they love local, they love supporting local people, and they love seeing with their own eyes that that's what's happening, and being able to know like they could get to Jeff if they want to, and he's going to listen to them and give them the time of day.
Yes.
All right. Well, with that, I'm just going to ask what you fall asleep to watching, or do you listen to Dave Matthews Band?
I'm one of those guys. I need a dark room. Heck, I have a loud sound machine, so I'll watch some TV and then I'll just turn it off and fall asleep with my thoughts, thinking about
Perfect.
what I'm going to do the next day and such.
You and my 16-month-old have the same go to bed habit. Thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this time of the year, now that it's May, one of the guilty pleasures, I have many guilty pleasures, but one of my guilty pleasures this time of year is seeing all of the prom photos that are going on for friends and everything. So I thought it'd be good homework for everyone on air and off air, and our producers for next week, share some prom photos and they're still, some are probably, yours probably digital, Erin, and mine and Ben's is probably, the old, go to the store to get
Mine's
them developed.
not. I know where there are some, and they're in a photo album.
Yeah, and then our other producer was probably that old, where you put the thing over your head with the big
in
light,
black and white.
One of those big lights from prom with our other producer. But I think it might be fun for everyone if we all dust off some old prom photos from yesteryears.
Yes, absolutely. And when whoever our guest is for next week, we'll have to see if we can get them in on this too. I bet they'll do it. And I get a chance to redeem myself from that Syracuse picture already. I love it.
Well, of course. Listen, Erin, and I might not recommend going to Google me because there'll be all kinds of good stuff for you.
You did send a text with an old school photo of you that I guess I should have had them load in here. And
yeah, exactly. Yes.
We'll check out the prom pic next week. I'm looking forward to that one.
I love it.
All right. Well, that is another week of the Trash Talking and Giving Back podcast with Myers Containers. It's so much fun, kind of just shining an extra light. Everyone knows about the trash side of things, but it's so fun to talk about the giving back side of things as well. We thank everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.